On this frigid day in Toronto, as usual, Uber driver Ijaz Butt is on the streets. He is an Uber Black SUV driver working the airports in Toronto and has to work long days and weeks to make ends meet.
When you never make a good money, how you uh, take care of your family? Of course.
The conditions faced by Ijaz and many of his fellow drivers brought them to the conclusion that they needed to organize. This January, Uber Black and SUV drivers in Toronto submitted an application to unionize with the United Food and Commercial Workers.
We will go through with the memberships and apply for the as the legally system for the registration of the union.
On June 26 of 2019, Ijaz was part of a group that announced hundreds of drivers had signed up to join the union. More than 300 drivers working in and around Pearson International Airport and downtown Toronto wanted Uber to hear their concerns, and after making the June announcement, they reached out again. But their appeals to the ride-sharing company fell on deaf ears, said UFCW's Pablo Godoy.
This announcement really revolved around the fact that we had signed several hundred cards and that there was a groundswell of support from Uber drivers with a desire to organize, to unionize, and to have some access to some type of recourse. Since then, we've attempted many times to contact Uber, and every single time and we've been met with the same response, which has been no response at all.
Drivers want the company to address their income or fare guarantees, as they spend countless unpaid hours every day waiting for customers, monitoring the app, and queuing at hubs at the airport in downtown Toronto. But they aren't just talking about money. As just one example of the one-sided relationship between the drivers and the company, a driver who wants to dispute an unjust termination has to travel to the Netherlands to Uber headquarters to contest the move. Drivers want the right to bargain collectively, as well as just cause protection and a legally binding grievance procedure.
They're running here, they have offices here. Why should they are pressurizing? If you have any problem, you go to the Holland. We have to do here. Uber General Manager Canada have a responsible for us, not any other people.
Uber has consistently argued that its drivers are not employees, which not only means that drivers are not protected by labor standards when it comes to wages, sick or vacation days, but also have to cover the full cost of their vehicles, including insurance. A certification vote has been scheduled for January 20, but the votes won't be tallied if Uber challenges the vote in court. Other gig economy employees, like the food couriers with Foodora, are currently embroiled in a similar battle over the employee designation after voting in August.
What we're saying is these drivers are workers. They are entitled to the rights and benefits that anybody else would have under the law. That also includes the right to association, the right to collectively bargain, the right to join a union. And these are things that are constitutionally protected. And so what we're arguing is that if drivers so choose to join a union, they shouldn't be denied that basic right that's guaranteed to all Canadians.
Drivers have organized strikes across major U.S. cities, including Chicago, Boston, Los Angeles, and Washington, D.C., leading to a $132 million settlement for tens of thousands of drivers. There are other unionization efforts ongoing, though to date, none have been successful. Rideshare companies like Uber and Lyft have pushed back, calling for governments to exempt them from classifying drivers as employees in order to avoid needing to comply with labor regulations. In Canada, however, a court has agreed to hear a class action lawsuit by Uber drivers demanding to be classified as employees. Toronto officials have recently passed mandatory training for all drivers in order to ensure driver and passenger safety, a move welcomed by both drivers and the union.
Commercial driving need more patience, more experience. How to drive, if you learn, you do better. So training is mandatory for everyone who don't have a training. If you see last year, almost near to 100 pedestrian and cyclists hit, and around 60% hit by these private vehicles. So that is why we need safety for the Torontonians.
If the courts allow the vote, this would be a major signal to companies that rely on precarious gig economy work, and Ijaz and his comrades could become the first ride-sharing workers in Canada to gain union representation. Since launching the Uber Drivers United campaign, the UFCW says it is expanding organizing efforts to British Columbia and other parts of Canada. Drivers and the union say they will fight at all levels to ensure drivers are properly recognized as employees who have the rights of workers to organize and bargain.
And if ultimately we are, for some reason or another, denied the ability to actually count those ballots, the fight doesn't stop there. We'll find other legal recourses to make sure that we take this battle to as far as we need to establish the fact that these workers are workers.
They have to recognize us as a legal persons of driver who have a right for the union, they have a right for the freedom of association, they have a right to collective bargain.
Thanks a lot for watching. Appreciate it. But do us one more solemn favor. Hit the subscribe button below. You know you want to. Stay up on the videos.